All right, jabronis, we're back. New studio. What do you guys think? It's not really done yet. I want to put some more, shit up here on the walls or whatever. But we're making progress, Casting couch is gone. Casting couch is gone. Hello. Making big moves. Got the official LPDS Resolute desk here. Antique desk, over 100 years old. Had to give it a little bit of a repair job with the legs. Hopefully they stay strong, as I hope all you guys do as well. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you think. Got a really weird episode today. I'll talk about it a little bit on the junction, but let's just get right into it. All right, so let's step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
Today's Cage Fact is sponsored by Kyle's Custom Honda Civics. If you're a moron piece of trash with an early 2000s Civic and you really want to impress the broads at the trailer park, take it on over to Kyle's Customs to get it fully outfitted with coffee can mufflers, glue-on window tinting, the whole nine. Call 1-800-555-DICK and use promo code COOLGUY for 6% off your first order. There you have it. Kyle's Custom. I don't have a Civic. I never did. I never will. But if you are a piece of trash and you want to wow them over there in the double wides, go check it out. Go get yourself a coffee can muffler. All right, today's Cage Fact. Nick Cage owns or has owned, I guess I should caveat all these facts when it talks about Nick Cage possessions. He had one time owned or purchased or was in possession of, based on his wild cowboy lifestyle of buying things and then having, to pay back taxes and all that good stuff. He might not own this stuff anymore. But Cage at one time did own 2 personal islands, full islands for himself, 40 plus acres each, whole island you could fly a plane on. Not the child sex islands like Epstein owned, which we'll talk about later on in the junction, but normal, run-of-the-mill Nick Cage type of islands. So you can imagine what went on over there with him and the pygmy heads and the comic books and all that other how you doing. So there you have it, Nick Cage fact of the day. All right, so let's move into Jabroni Junction. Got a new little Jabroni Junction graphic. Let me know what you think about that. I had a brother-in-arms make that for me, that design. He made it into a patch to put on your uniform when we flew missions out in Afghanistan, so I thought that was pretty cool. So if you like it, cool. If not, too fucking bad. So the junction today, I had a whole topic and everything lined up. I had a Stugatz of the week that I encountered last week, some dick bag that I wanted to talk about, and then I had a Jabroni Junction topic that obviously went off of the Stugatz of the week, as they normally do. But with so much crazy crap going on this week, I felt that I just had to scrap the whole thing, and I wanted to weigh in and rant and bitch about some of the things that are going on, and also talk about the cool stuff that I think the stuff I think is cool that's going on. And so I scrapped the whole thing. I'm kind of working on the fly here. So first thing I want to talk about, and I know you're probably going to be sick of me, discussing this, but I'm going to bring it up as often as possible so it doesn't get buried. But more shit with the Ghislaine Maxwell Epstein pedophile ring situation. A couple things, actually. So first, everybody's favorite sleazeball mustached news or talk show anchor, Geraldo Rivera, who's now on Fox News. I don't know how long he's been on there, but he's been around for way too long. He comes out on multiple different occasions defending Ghislaine Maxwell. Recently, he's come out and said that, she's being arrested and charged with stuff that happened 25 years ago, and that's such a long time ago. It's really just a blip on the radar. And they're denying her bail, and it's just ridiculous what they're doing to her. 25 years ago does not mean that the crimes committed were not heinous and despicable, Geraldo. Okay? She's involved in the biggest, most prolific child sex trafficking ring in the history of the world. I don't care if it happened yesterday or 100 years ago. Okay? All that means, that 25 years means, is that those victims, those child victims, those young girls had to grow up for the past 25 years knowing that the perpetrators and the rapists are not only free and not getting in trouble for this, they're running the world. They're the most powerful elites in this country and this world, and they're getting away with it scot-free. So don't tell me that, 25 years, she's not a threat anymore. Let her go. Give her a break. Give me a break, Geraldo. Give us a break. You slimy, sleazy piece of shit. I can't talk too much about Geraldo. I'll get deep down in the rabbit hole. I don't like that guy. There's so many reasons why I don't like him. But let's move on to more Ghislaine Maxwell Epstein-related shit. As if the media wasn't trying to bury this enough, mainly because they have talk show anchors like Geraldo and others on CNN and other TV stations in the mainstream media. They're all on the list. A bunch of those guys are on the list of visitors of Sex Pedo Island. So they want to snuff this video. They want to bury this whole story to make sure that those guys don't get in trouble, which makes you wonder if Geraldo himself is on that list and he's got something to hide that Ghislaine Maxwell knows, and he's trying to defend her to keep his name out of the spotlight in a bad way as well. I don't know. But speaking of media, Andrew Schultz, the comedian I mentioned several episodes ago about his amazing monologue videos he's been putting out, his recent video from a few weeks ago about Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein and just bashing them and dropping straight facts on the situation, his video gets banned and deleted off of Facebook and Instagram. I was going to say Twitter, but it's Instagram. Get this, for bullying and harassment. So Andrew Schultz, the comedian, drops a couple of facts in a video, does it in a pretty humorous way, banned because he's bullying and harassing the madam in the biggest elitist child sex trafficking ring in the history of the world. He's the bully and the harasser. Makes you wonder, what does Ghislaine Maxwell have on Mark Zuckerberg? I know I'm going down the rabbit hole. I'm putting the tinfoil hat on a little bit here, but you got to hear me out on this. Who in their right mind would defend what's going on here? Who would defend these people? Who would go out in public and say this person is a good person, nothing's wrong, they're being bullied and harassed, that's what's wrong. They're the victim. Who's going to defend that? People have something to hide, folks. Put on your tinfoil hats and follow me a little bit. Okay? As if this story didn't get crazy enough. This past week, I'm sure you all heard of it. Maybe not, because the media kind of buried this story quickly too. A man dressed up as a FedEx driver, impersonated a FedEx driver, went to the house of a judge, started shooting everybody up. Shot and killed the judge's child, her son, and shot her husband. Didn't kill him, but on his rampage, shot her husband. Then he fled up to the Catskills. This happened in New Jersey. He fled to the Catskills. Now, you're probably thinking, like, this is just a random thing. What does this have to do with the Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, blah, blah? You're reaching, Libretti. You're going crazy here. Let me tell you about it. So this Judge Salas, I think her name is pronounced, or Salas or Salas or whatever. Anyway, she is currently presiding over a lawsuit between people, I don't know exactly who, and Deutsche Bank, Douchebag Bank, whatever it's called. This lawsuit is about how douchebag bank continued to do business with Jeff Epstein after he was convicted and charged with his first round of sexual predator offenses. And they continued to allow him to funnel money through their bank to continue his operations of sex trafficking and pedophilia and letting all the elites go to Sex Pedo Island. They allowed this to happen, so now they're being sued for it, and she's the judge presiding over it. Oh, well, Libretti, you're an idiot because that guy lost a case to this judge, and now he's just trying to get his revenge. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with the Epstein thing. This guy's case that he lost, this dude that they found out, and I'll tell you more about this idiot in a little bit, he lost a case in 2015 for some anti-feminist charge he was putting. He was trying to sue for, women's ladies' night at a bar or club in New Jersey that he didn't like. He thought it was sexist against men. He's an idiot. He lost, obviously. Very small case. 2015, that's 5 years ago. You mean to tell me that this guy took 5 years to plan his revenge, exact his revenge on this judge, and he didn't even accomplish a goal or even come close to it? He just, his plan for 5 years was dress as a FedEx guy, show up to their house, and start shooting the place, and hopefully you hit somebody, hit your target, and then flee. You think it took him 5 years for that, just for that simple revenge? And coincidentally, as soon as this lawsuit starts, as soon as she's on the hook for this lawsuit, as the judge, open your eyes a little bit, people. Keep the tinfoil hats on a little bit longer for me. Now, you could say, oh, this, why don't you just ask him? You got the guy. You found him in the Catskills. Find out. Investigate him. You can't. Why? Because this dickbag got suicided. He apparently shot himself from gunshot wound, suicide. In the Catskills, went up there where no one knew he was going to be. Even though he announced it on his Facebook, that's where he goes. And then an apparent gunshot wound was self-inflicted. Now, they don't specify what kind of gunshot wound it was. It could have been a machine gun. Could have been 13 shots to the chest and head. But it was an apparent suicide. We've seen this before. The Clintons are big on it. Yeah, I'm calling him out again. I guess I'm up. I'm up next for the suicide round. But now he can't talk. And conveniently, he was able to fire off a bunch of Facebook tweets and put some manifestos right on his computer for everyone to see right before he suicided himself, how he's been planning his revenge. He's dying of cancer, so it's time to tie up loose ends and all that. How you doing? But the autopsy probably won't even investigate whether he has cancer or not, because the case closed. He suicided. It's all good to go. Meanwhile, this judge has to still preside over this case. She just lost her son. He's college age. She lost her son, almost lost her husband, her entire family, because she's presiding over a case that's going to help take steps to exposing all the elite pedophiles of this world. Just to bury this story, they're killing human beings. All right? Let's take the hats off for a bit, okay? Next topic. We're putting the hats back on. Don't worry, folks. But next topic. Kanye West. This poor bastard has another breakdown, another bipolar episode, whatever you want to call it. It was tough. It was tough to be a part of. Kanye has this presidential campaign rally, if you will, if you want to call it that. He's in a bulletproof vest, talking, giving his rally speech, talking about a bunch of crazy stuff. How Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves; she just moved them up to other slave owners, and how him and his wife, what the hell is her name, Kim, almost aborted their first child, and he's crying about it, and he's just going off the deep end. And I'm not here to make fun of Kanye. This is not a bashing of Kanye. It's sad. It was just a big story. I feel bad for the guy. He's got a mental health issue big time. I know he's bipolar. He's taking medication for that. I do know that, and there's a little bit of a conspiracy going on, that he goes crazy in public with his breakdowns every time he's got an album or a clothesline that he's dropping. And he did have another album, dropping this week, or it dropped already. I don't know. I don't really follow current music because I'm old and stupid. But it went in line with his album drop. So I don't know for sure if that's what it had to do with. Either way, if your mental state, suggests I should go out in public and cry about and talk about thinking about killing my daughter and aborting my daughter or whatever, and all this other stuff, then obviously you have a mental situation going on up there. And I really feel for the guy. The mental incapacity of any kind is very tough to deal with, even, especially, even from the outside. So I can't imagine what it's like having to go through that internally with somebody. The reason why I wanted to bring this up, though, is not to get into the PTSD, mental health and wellness conversation. That'll be, another time when we're talking serious stuff. I want to get into it because of the move that happened the day after the meltdown and his album release and all that. How you doing? Everyone's favorite country singer, non-country singer, Taylor Swift, comes in hot with an alpha move and drops her album the day after at midnight, announces her big album drop the day after. So I don't even know if it's ready. It could be a shitty album. Who the hell knows? I haven't listened to it yet. I'll listen to it months down the road because I'm behind the times. But what a power move on her part. Talk about exacting revenge, coming in hot, dropping her album the next day after to make sure that his shenanigans and the bullshit that he's been pulling with her all these years is not going to get him the #1 album drop this month or whatever. It's going to be hers because it's going to be #1. She can literally fart and shit on a CD and put it out there. It's going to be the #1 album. I promise you that. So the fact that she pulls that chess move when Kanye is over there with his bipolar and is playing checkers, I thought that was really funny, very impressive. You got to love Taylor Swift. You don't have to agree with her politics, but everything else, I'm a big fan of hers. I can't wait to date her in the future and then have her dump me and write a song about me. So stay tuned for that. But great move by Taylor Swift in that regard. So thank you for that, Taylor. Kanye, please go get help. He's way worse than Britney Spears is. They got the whole free Britney movement going on. They don't have the free Kanye movement. Free Kanye from Kanye, though. That's what it really is about. So he needs a doctor, the poor bastard. Anyway, the big news I want to talk about, and it's exciting for me. I don't know how you guys feel. I'm going to put the tinfoil hat on a little bit again. I'm going to get into the conspiracies rabbit hole, if you will. And I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if this whole episode is shit to you because it's not the standard format how it has been in the past. I don't care. I want to talk about this. The Pentagon put out another statement that their UFO program is still up and running. They said years ago that their UFO program was done. 2017, 2017, they stopped the funding. The program died, whatever. They just come out. Program is very much alive. In fact, I believe, one of the congressmen or senators, Marco Rubio, I want to say, kind of reopened the can of worms on the Senate floor. He was, New York Times came out with this article saying the Pentagon put this out. Okay. So not only is their UFO program up and running, they have been briefed as early as March of this year that they may be, when I say they, I mean the government, the Department of Defense, the government of the United States of America may be in possession of what they call out-of-world craft. In other words, craft or vehicles that the world, the earth, man on earth does not have the technology to produce themselves. They may be in possession of that. Finally, people are listening to Libretti, and they're coming out. The government finally is coming out. We talked about this weeks ago. If you remember, I went down the rabbit hole. I put the hat back on and talked about how they came out with the videos and the parallel universe possibility and all that other shit that the media buried so they could talk more about coronavirus, so Dr. Fauci could go in and give the worst possible first pitch of a baseball game in the history of first pitches while he's not wearing his mask properly. They buried all the UFO stories and that for this shit. We talked about it on this show. And then last week, Joe Rogan must have listened to the show because he had George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell on his show talking about UFOs and aliens. If you don't know who they are, go check them out. George Knapp interviewed probably the most famous and renowned Area 51 employee, Bob Lazar, back in 1989. So George Knapp he's the guy to talk about this stuff with. Rogan had him on last week. They brought all this stuff up. And now the Pentagon, even the New York Times, is coming out saying, yeah, we got some shit here, guys. Libretti was right. I know what you're thinking, though. I know what you're thinking. You're a mental case, Libretti. I don't have time to go down this rabbit hole of bullshit with you. It's all fake news. And I know for years it has been fake. It has been sort of bullshit. All these idiots going on, ancient aliens talking about, oh, I lived on the moon base for a couple years, so I know about the aliens because I lived on the moon. Okay, buddy. Or their explanation, oh, we don't know how the pyramids were made. It must have been aliens. That's the only explanation we have. It's got to be the aliens, right? So there's a whole lot of malarkey out there. So I get it. You don't want to believe. You think it's all bullshit. Not to mention the fact that for the past decades, our entire lives, the government has been burying these stories. All the sightings, all the video, all the people coming out. They've been burying it. They've been lying about having this information or investigating it themselves. Been lying to us. And if you came out about it, they just threatened your family. Poor Bob Lazar, for 30 years, he's been living a miserable existence. He found out his wife was cheating on him from the government. They called his house after he came out with his story and said, hey, we know, we tapped your phones, your wife's cheating on you. Shut your mouth or we're going to bury you too. They've been doing that for years. I know. You got the tinfoil hat on, Libretti. You're the nut job. I got it. But now, with this recent article this week about possibly being in possession of unearthly, non-world type craft vehicles, they're confirming it. I'm not crazy. You're crazy. I'm not crazy. You're crazy.
I'm not crazy. She's crazy.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here, but we've been saying this for a long time now on this show. The entire history of this show, all exhaustive 15, 14 episodes, we've been talking about this and how I want to believe and I want it to be real. So yeah, you might think I'm crazy, but now the government's saying no. They listen to Libretti. Okay? And that's all I got. That's it. I just wanted to talk about that. I wanted to brag a little bit how I've been saying for a while now that I think aliens or UFOs and shit are real, and I want it to be real. And now the government is saying, yeah, Libretti, could be real. You could be onto something, buddy. George Knapp, Bob Lazar, Jeremy Corbell, you guys, you're right. Even that nut job, Tom DeLonge from Blink-182, who has his for-profit website about aliens and UFOs and shit. Even he was kind of right. That fucking kooky bastard. Sorry, Terrence, family show, I know. But it just makes you think, makes you wonder a little bit what's going on out there in the big universe. I always wonder about it. I know if Carol Libretti is listening to this, she's probably getting all the cornicello, the Italian horn necklaces, the garlic, anything that could wrap around my neck to protect me from what's going on out there. She's going to give it to me next time I see her. So thanks, Ma. Thanks for letting me, for protecting us from what's out there. But I'm ready for it. I hope you guys are too, because it's coming. Anyway, that's it. That's the shitty episode this week. The best thing about it was the new little setup here. I'm very excited about it. More things to come. Maybe I'll put some tchotchkes on the table or whatever. We'll see. But thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed me absolutely going off the rails this week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, comment, rate, email me. Libretti Podcast Diary Show on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Anchor. LibrettiPodcastDiary@gmail.com. Email me your questions, your comments, your feedback. I love reading that shit. It makes for great entertainment. It gives me ideas for the next week's episodes and stuff. So keep it coming. All right. Next week, maybe I'll go back to my Stugats of the week. Probably, since I don't have a poll question this week for you guys. So I'll bring back, what was supposed to be this week's episode. I'll talk about it next week, and then hopefully we'll have a good poll question for the week after that. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. So thanks again, and stay strong.
And I was talking